Hello everybody. I hope that you can hear me and we have no other issues because I'm trying to use the OBS, not just the plain Google Hangouts. So if this won't work, then I will be using the Google Hangouts, but I guess it's working. Please let me know if you can hear me properly. So it has been a very full day for me. I had friends over as I had in every year, just throughout the years of celebrating. I have posted on Facebook. I might have to reload it because I noticed that there's a spot on that video where things don't go really good. Yes, I did tape myself while I was cooking, and I posted the video. I made a smoked salmon potato salad, and I made chicken coconut curry, and they were absolutely fabulous. I can tell you that. I had a few questions throughout this whole thing. This whole year, sorry, not this whole thing, throughout this whole year, all kinds of things, as in how do I keep myself motivated? Of course, there were a few questions that were a bit more personal, and of course, I'm not going to answer those on a public video, but one thing I can tell you, and because it just happens that I am celebrating and that I had to start my whole breast cancer journey in October, and October being the breast cancer awareness month. People who know me for a while know that I have a very strong feeling about what most breast cancer patients and survivors call Pinktober. And I can tell you that in the first few years it was quite difficult for me, and how can I say it? When you have an invasive cancer, it takes a long time before when you first wake up in the morning, your first thought is not about cancer. It takes a long time. It takes a few years. And you can imagine when I was trying to kind of find the new normal and get used to the new normal. Why do they call them that, a new normal, when it's not normal at all? I have no idea, but as I said, the whole thing was very difficult for me, because I would get out of the house and every store I would go into, every little thing had to have pink ribbons, had to have all that pink stuff, and I was trying to forget about and trying not to think about it, and it was just slapping me over the face. And I don't know, a lot of us feel really strongly about Pinktober, because besides the whole commercial thing, besides companies trying to take advantage of the suffering of others to make money, somehow, even if on one hand, because of Pinktober, breast cancer had gotten more attention than other cancers. And honestly, I have no idea why. On the other hand, it is also more. Thank you, Norma. Thank you, Carol. Um, it gets way more trivialized because somehow in people's minds it's something pink and fuzzy and all pretty, and the reality is so different. um, I could start to tell you a whole bunch of stuff about this whole think before you pink thing, and it was actually hilarious. We started a thread in, I think I told you before, I am a member in the largest breast cancer patients and survivor forums in the world. I think we are nearing 300,000 members right now, and there's a thread there on the most beyond ridiculous things in Pinktober. I mean, going from porta potties, pink porta potties, and pink. Oh God, there was one. The photo with dogs lined up wearing bras with pink balloons in them. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's funny, but try to think how a breast cancer survivor thinks about all that. When the reality is that it's not at all pink, it's not at all fuzzy, it's not at all. So, yeah, and if you look, honestly, I've seen so many products out there that do have a pink ribbon, that do have a pink label, that do have, but you cannot find anywhere on the product that any kind of money will be donated. Or they have, very, very, very small print somewhere there. So much percent of the proceedings. Hi, from Colombia. I think that's a first in one of my lives. So much percent of our proceedings will go towards breast cancer awareness and research, and then underneath in an even tinier print, it will be up to $10,000. Yeah. Or you see companies that actually manufacture and sell products that have carcinogens, uh, and they slap a pink ribbon on the label. I mean, I don't know, it's absolutely disgusting. Not to talk about the fact that at this point, I think that there's quite a bit of awareness out there, and um, I started a meme on Facebook, also asking for donations for the breastcancer.org. Says, what good is awareness when we don't have a cure? Because most of the companies that do, um, all kinds of donations and fundraising and all that for cancer awareness, um, not a lot goes into research for a cure. Hi, Deborah. Um, and out of that, maybe out of each dollar, 5 cents go for donations, but the rest goes for their administrative costs. That means their paychecks. Um, and in all this, the thing is that what is really, 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 really painful is the fact that there's no talk of stage 4, ladies and gentlemen, because, and see, the thing is that the percentage of women who will get cancer in their lifetime. You cannot hear me? Can you hear me? Do I have issues? Let me turn this out louder. Okay, is it better? Is it better now? Can you hear me better? I turned it higher. Okay. Yeah, I turned it to the max now. Yeah, I was afraid that I would come up because I know that when I recorded one of the sounds on one of the videos, everybody said that it was too loud. So I was afraid to not be too loud. So I turned the volume, the level on the microphone a little lower. So what I was saying is that because of the pollution we live in and all the chemicals and everything, in the last 30 years or so, the risk of getting breast cancer has increased horribly. If back in the 1980s, the risk was that 1 in every 12 women. Thank you, Donna. You still can't hear me? I don't know what else to do. Let me try and get the volume on the OBS higher. Give me just a second. Let me see. Okay. This should be okay. Maybe I have too high. Is it better now? I don't know how to get it even higher than this. Yeah, I see that my microphone is a little low. I'm trying to get it closer. I can even move to another microphone. I don't know if I have this one. Is unplugged. This one. Is it unplugged? Let me see if I have still the blue up. This microphone. Okay, let's try this. If you can hear me better with the other microphone. Give me just a second. It might take a few seconds to... Okay. Let's see if this one works better. Levels higher. Is this better? I don't know. I think it's just the OBS that's doing all this. I can... okay, this one seems to be higher. Okay. Is this louder? I'm trying. I have like 3 different microphones here and I'm trying to get the best. Oh, I would love to go to Colombia. I know it's a beautiful place. I hope so, Soile. Hi, Cass. Okay, can you hear me louder now? Because it's I'm trying to... Okay, hold on. Is this... I'm trying to get higher, 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 higher. I think it's YouTube. Very low sound. Yeah, I'm trying to switch from one microphone to another and to another and to another. I'm trying to see which of them sounds the loudest out of all. Yeah, this one, the C922, seems to be the loudest. Okay, so let me make sure that I have the highest volume on this one. I do. Okay, I think that this is the best I can do. I should have maybe gone with the... Okay, it's plenty loud. Good. All right, so what I was saying was that unfortunately, the risk of getting breast cancer in a lifetime has increased tremendously in the last 30 years or so. If back in the 1980s it was like one woman out of 12 would get breast cancer in her lifetime, now it's one out of eight, and it's rapidly growing towards one out of seven. And the good part is that now they can, there's less death from breast cancer, especially from breast cancer that is caught in a, I don't need this anymore, that is caught in a lower stage, less severe. The problem is that still none of the standard treatments that they are doing actually cures cancer. And all of the standard treatments are still the same. It's the cut, burn, and poison. And the untold truth is how much the lives of the survivors are changed, and how many people survive the cancer but don't survive the treatment. So yeah, it's something that you have to come to terms with, and it's not easy. And there are so many changes in your life from all points of view. I mean, you lose friends, you are disappointed by people that you thought, thank you, Dana. Happy today, it's wonderful. Um, so you need to get used to a lot of things. And the thing is that, as I said, you need to get used to new normals. You need to get used to the fact that, and the hardest for me to come to terms with was, because I think that back in the back of my mind, there was still there that one day I'll be again the way I was before cancer. And it took years before I realized and I came to terms with the fact that no, that's never going to happen. And I have to get used and accept the fact that this is how it's going to be from now on. And in a way, to be honest, I was thinking that it's very similar to aging, if you want, only that it's on a much more rapid onset, if you want. Because it's the same when you're aging. It's like you cannot believe, it's like yourself still, your mind still sees yourself as you were when you were young. And if you think there are all those jokes and all those memes out there with the, oh my god, I saw the people I went to high school with and they are all old people, am I an old people too? And it's pretty much the same thing. And you need to come to terms with the fact that, well, this is it, it's not going to change. Only that it's on a more rapid onset, and many more, John. And I am sure that inside of yourself you are still 20 or 30. I know that, you know what this reminds me of? I don't know how many of you know of Dune, of Frank Herbert. No, there were a couple series, and there was the movie, and I think that they are making a new movie. The thing is that I read the books, and they are my most uh, beloved. I think that Dune is possibly the best book ever written. And this is from the point of view of a philologist. And both my parents were literature professors. I mean, my father was a professor, my mother was a teacher. But there's at one point, and that is in the first book, they were in the books. They were the Reverend Mothers, who were these women who had exceptional knowledge and exceptional. They had some occult powers and all that, and they were carrying within them the memories of all the former generations, and they were, in the moment of death, they could transfer all their knowledge and all their memories to another Reverend Mother. And there's one of these exchanges. Thank you, Tanya. Yeah, that's it. And at one of these exchanges, the Reverend Mother who was dying was very, very, very old, and the one who was receiving her memories sees that in her mind, the old Reverend Mother was a young woman, and this is the truth. And as you age, you still see yourself as you were years ago. And it's the same when you suffer a debilitating health issue. You still see yourself as you were before. And there's this hope, I don't know, this idea in the back of your mind that one day you will be again the way you were before. And it's very hard to come to terms with the fact that no, you will never be. So how do you go ahead? How can you keep going when you realize that, well, that's it? There's no going back. That's the deal, and that's it. Well, you know how you keep going on? You just say, well, today is today. Tomorrow was, nobody can get from me my memories unless I get Alzheimer or spread to the brain. But tomorrow may or may not come. So let me enjoy today, because that's all we have all the time. We always have just today. Tomorrow may never come. Yesterday is gone. So enjoy the day. Hi, Cherry. Oh my goodness. We are discussing today. I celebrate 9 years of surviving breast cancer. And as I said in the beginning, I feel more like surviving breast cancer treatment, not breast cancer. And I can tell you another thing that was very hard on me. As I said in that forum, we kind of group ourselves by, hi Zenta, we kind of group ourselves by, when we get the surgery or when we have the chemo. Most of the time the groups are by chemo date, and I was in the May 2010 chemo group. And as years go by, so I think we were about, I don't know, maybe 40, 50 ladies. And as years go by, slowly, the other ladies, thank you, you see another one who's got a recurrence and is now stage 4. And another one, and out of the ones who get stage 4, yes, there are a lot of ladies who can live years and years and years, but some would be, gone within a year. And as time went by, there are so many that I've lost, because even if there are ladies who I've never seen in my life, the internet has brought in our lives this wonderful thing that we can connect with others, that even if we never meet them ever, now we can video chat, now we can connect, we can, because of the technology and because of the communication, we can actually be there for each other. Um, so there are real friendships, not just, Facebook. I have 1,000 friends kind of friendships. I'm talking about real friendships with people with whom you share the good and the bad, and you exactly. It's a sisterhood, and when you start losing your sisters, it's so hard. It's like you start on a road with a basket full of flowers, and as you walk you realize that there are less and less of them. So I don't know, probably I didn't even use the proper image, but it is very, very hard. And then it's always in the back of your mind, when will be my turn? Because you never know. And there's another thing. Um, Somehow the way the whole thing is, and there's so much mass manipulation and manipulating people's mind, and people don't even realize it's horrid. um, to give you an example, the standard phrasing is so and so failed the treatment, the cancer killed her. She didn't fail any treatment, the treatment failed her. But see, it's like it's putting the guilt on the patient. There are so many women and men, because it started being more and more cases of men getting breast cancer, um, who keep feeling guilty because they are being told, oh yes, you were fat, or you ate this, or you smoked, or you did this, and you caused your own cancer. Not talking about the idiots who are like, oh yeah, you thought, you didn't think positive, and you did it. No, it is a crapshoot. There are people who have led a fully healthy life and ate, they were vegetarian and took supplements and worked out and never smoked and never drank and got cancer, and people who drink and smoke and eat fat and are super obese and never get cancer. So it's nothing. It's true that there is a higher risk if you have a genetic mutation, but not even with that. It's, yeah, it's true, but see, that's the way that it is manipulated. And then you have I'm sorry, I'm just jumping from one to the other because I read yesterday on the forum something like that. And they are trying to make you feel guilt in order to sell you stuff. There's this chiropractor guy who started a campaign on Facebook telling people that telling women that they got cancer, because it doesn't matter if you have a genetic predisposition, you get cancer because of what you eat. And of course, behind all this, you're supposed to buy the book that tells you what to eat not to get cancer. And see, honestly, I would shoot these people. I mean, I know I'm not inciting to violence or anything, but I so despise these people who just take advantage of people's despair and suffering to make money. I don't know. And see, all this makes the whole journey of survivorship so much harder. Because after you go, when you get a diagnosis of a disease like that, you go pretty much through the same stages of grieving as when you're losing someone, or when you're divorcing, or when it's at the first, the denial, then the anger, then the bargaining, and all that. And then after that, you just get bombarded with, oh yeah, if you do this, you did this, and that's why, and you need to do this other one. So it's that guilt trip that they are trying to put on you. The other thing is that you become a number. You become a number in this mechanism where you become a number in a statistic, and they have this standard of care. And as I said, it's the cut, burn, and poison, surgery, radiation, chemo that everybody gets. Now, lately, I am glad to see that they started actually pushing, because there's a test called Oncotype that when I was diagnosed was still the insurances wouldn't cover it, and they managed to push, and now it is covered. And now finally some women don't get over treated, because as I said, now I'm not saying only that I survived breast cancer, I survived breast cancer treatment, because a lot of times women would die due to the side effects of the treatment. And you can see my disability is not due to the cancer. My disability is due to the cancer treatment. And finally, due to this oncotype and due to the whole noise that some doctors did, they started not over treating women. And that is so much better, because to give you an example, I'm not going to give you a whole expose about breast cancer, how many things, but just in very short, there are you have the stages, and the stages show how much it has spread, but then you also have the grade, and the grade excuse me, the grade shows how active it is, how aggressive it is. A grade 1 is a very slow multiplying. A grade 3 is a very aggressive cancer. And chemotherapy works on aggressive cancers, or works on, because it would kill the cells that multiply very fast. That is why you lose your hair, you might lose your fingernails, your nasal lining, your mouth lining, and all that get burned out. So if you have a grade 3, chemo will be efficient. If you have a grade 1, it will not even be recommended. But if you have a grade 2, might or might not work, but they still give it to you. So I was a grade 2, and I had chemo. So a lot of my chronic pain is due to chemo, and I had not just that, but from one of the chemo drugs I actually got apical fibrosis in my lung, on the tip of the lungs. I got fibrosis, and fibrosis is not reversible. That's why I don't know if you noticed, I have a little bit of shortness of breath when I talk. That is the cause. Then the other one, because I had two different drugs in the chemo, the Cytoxan and the Taxotere, and the other one attacked my teeth. And I also got peripheral neuropathy that theoretically it's supposed to go away within the year after you finish chemo. But sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it can be for the rest of your life. So from time to time, how it manifests with me, from time to time, it's like the palm of my hands and the soles of my feet feel like I just plunged my hands and my feet in burning charcoal. It only lasts for less than 10 seconds, but it's horrible. So there are all kinds of side effects, and they don't tell you. That's the worst part. For doctors, generally speaking, what they want to know and what they want to make sure of is to get you rid of cancer. Your quality of life, who the heck cares? You know, there are a lot of court cases. They brought them to court actually for the taxotere, one of the ones, and it's a whole group of medications for chemo called the taxols, um, because one of the side effects, and now on some of the bottles it says, but not on all of them, your hair might not come back, but they don't tell you that. They tell you you might lose your hair. Well, you do lose your hair, that's for sure, but in some cases it might not come back, and they don't tell you that. um, or they don't tell you the whole extent of uh, the side effects. Some of the chemo drugs can actually affect your heart. There are quite a bit of ladies who died due to chemo, uh, and so on and so forth. Or like with the breast reconstruction that I had, I did not need this type of breast reconstruction. I'm going to be very honest with you. Um, it came out years later that my plastic surgeon simply wanted to increase his portfolio in this specific procedure, in this specific type of breast reconstruction. Because this specific type of breast reconstruction is done to ladies who had radiation and who had the skin burned too much to accept, because the way that they do it, after they remove the breast, they put what's called a tissue expander, and it's like a deflated implant that has a port. And you go like every week, and they put a few more cc's of saline until the remaining skin expands, and then they can go in and put an implant. But with ladies who had radiation, uh, the skin becomes burnt and is not elastic and all that, so it's impossible to get it to expand. So they take the muscle on the back with skin flap, and they bring it in the front so they can create a breast mound. Well, I did not have radiation. Not only that, but I had what's called a skin sparing mastectomy, because the tumors I had were not close enough to the skin to warrant the skin excision as well. Not to talk about the fact that I had the left breast removed. That was an optional. I chose to have it because the cancer was only in the right breast, but I said if it comes back, I don't want to go through the same thing. So I decided to get a bilateral. But all he told me that if I have that one, it's going to take less revisions, and that I will have issues only if I would want to play professional tennis, or if I would want to do performance swimming. Well, let me tell you something. He didn't take into consideration the fact that I used to be an athlete, that I used to be a gymnast, and that my latissimus dorsi muscles were super developed, and I used to be a swimmer as well. So, number one, I bled profusely in the OR. So my surgery was supposed to last about 6.5 hours. It lasted a little bit over 11. But the way it comes out, because of my latissimus dorsi was so developed, it had a very strong role in holding my torso upright, and removing that muscle, the remaining muscles cannot compensate. And not only that, but this is combined with the aromatase inhibitors, that this caused my cervical spine to go haywire. I have on 2 levels, I have displaced vertebrae. The vertebrae are not one on top of the other, but they are a little bit displaced. But see, all these things happen gradually after, and there's the statute of limitations. So there's nothing I can do. I cannot sue that doctor anymore. But see, when you're not given all the all the warnings, and think about the fact that you're not exactly in the right state of mind, so you can take the wrong decisions, and you're not being told everything because, as I said, you're just a number in a statistic at one point. So there are so many things that you have to get over in this journey. And honestly, I wouldn't know. I couldn't tell you if it is harder because I was diagnosed when I was 48. So aging and getting through the whole thing with cancer kind of went together. So I wouldn't be able to tell you if it would be harder to be diagnosed, obviously, when you're young, of course, because you have, it's horrible. If it's easier to go through this when you're 40 or when you're 50 or when you're 60 or when you're 70, I don't know. But the thing is that, and I think I said before in another live, it's that thing with, oh, you're so brave. No, you're not. You're brave when you are afraid of something, but you choose to go ahead and still do it. But when you have a disease like that, you have no choice. It's not like you choose to do it. That's not bravery, that's just survival. Your survival instinct kicks in, and you just keep going. Now, as time goes by, and the whole secret is to find the silver lining, and as I said, the creating something, and not just creating something, but doing anything that involves creating or nurturing is going to help you tremendously, because and I talked about this a little bit when I did last year that video about the compassion thing. There's another thing that comes into play is the losing of the purpose. If you want to destroy somebody, the worst thing you can do to that person is to take away their purpose. And once you go through stuff like this, before going through that, everybody strives for, let's say, a good career, family, husband, children, and so on. And as I said, you find out a lot of things when you're going through this journey. It is a known fact that, unfortunately, when women get diagnosed with breast cancer or ovarian cancer or uterine cancer, their partners leave them in, like, I don't know, 70% of the cases, and maybe not when they are going through the treatment, but after, because somehow in people's minds is, okay, you got through the treatment, you got rid of cancer, what are you complaining, get on with your life. And it's not like that, because number one, you never get rid of the cancer. There's no cure. You're considered NED, no evidence of disease. It can come back at any time, and then you have to deal with all the side effects that are sometimes lifelong. And the partners expect, okay, let's get back to the life that we had before this, and that doesn't happen. So at one point they leave, or you get family and what you consider to be your best friends that desert you. So there are a lot of aspects of life that that's why I was talking about the new normal. I mean, it's like your whole world shatters and you get thrown in a completely in a nightmare that you have to get used to, and you have to start having some control. And you lose your purpose because everything that you were living for before, almost everything, is kind of gone, and you need to find a new purpose, especially after the primal survival fight is over, after you finish the chemo and the surgery and the treatments and all that. And creating something or nurturing something is one of the best things that you can do. Gardening, fostering animals, taking care, volunteering somewhere where you can take care of people, creating, it doesn't matter if it's art or if you just do. For a while there, before I was able, and I told you that for a while I was in a creative funk. I couldn't create anything because so much stuff had happened. But I was crocheting and knitting puppy sweaters, and I was gardening. I cannot garden anymore, but that really kept me going. Yeah, puppy sweaters and gardening. And also, I was one of the local mentors for newly diagnosed. So that's why I'm saying creating, and I'm not talking only about people who had cancer, but also people with disabilities, people with, and that is why I'm so glad that I decided to open this channel, because it's almost daily that I get messages of thank you from a lot of ladies and a few men too, who tell me how much finding my channel has changed their lives. And I know that it might seem like a very, very small thing. Oh yeah, what's the big deal? She just makes stuff out of polymer clay. But I think it's the fact that you can see that even if you're disabled, even if you're considered broken by others, it doesn't matter. You can still get up and you can still do things, and maybe not all of them are good, because maybe your hands don't work that good that day. Maybe, so what? Just keep swimming, as Dory said. Just keep swimming, and your life, your whole life, and your whole world can get better. Exactly. It can change everything, but if you keep creating or nurturing, you can turn that change in your favor, and you can still find joy in life. So yeah, that was what kept me going, and this is what keeps me going with this channel. It's I know that a lot of times I want to do something and it might take me a week instead of 2 days as I wish it would. This is my CBD oil thing. I hacked it. This is actually something for vaping nicotine. It's called a blue pod, and it comes with these little disposable pods that come filled with nicotine, and I learned how to hack it to open, remove the nicotine, and put CBD oil in it so I can vape it. Haha. But yeah, so it's it makes me glad every day, even if, as I said, there are days when I cannot do much. There are days when and it was killing me in the beginning. That can change everything. And when you lose, you know what, when you lose a husband, when you lose a child, and maybe sometimes not even the death of a husband, but a divorce can change your life completely. It all depends on so many factors, and that's another thing. Never try to compare experiences and think that one experience is better or worse than another, or oh yeah, but you know, my thing is worse than yours because I have this. No, because people react differently. Mine is creme brulee. People react differently, and people cannot. Uh, some people can go through horrible stuff in their life and come out of it unbroken and still going strong, while some other people can have something going on in their life that for others might seem insignificant, but for them it shatters them. It's the same as for pain. You know, I learned because I have a very high tolerance for pain. Yeah, and I'm talking about that even if I have to take uh, pain management. But I really do have a high tolerance for pain. To give you an example, I get the shots in my cervical spine without not even twilight. Most people go under, or at least choose twilight. I go just without anything. But that doesn't mean that someone else doesn't have a much lower tolerance for pain, and something that would make me just go, huh, wouldn't make them unable to get out of bed. Life is different for each of us, and even if we think we might have it better or worse than others, I never try to compare, and especially when it comes to bad things and things that have hurt you. It's hard to make any kind of comparisons. I mean, it depends. Like John said, that the loss of of your husband changes your life completely. For some women, it does. For some, it doesn't. As I said, it's all subjective. Did I pronounce that right? So it's the same with everything, and each of us, you know, is on a different journey. Exactly. So all we have to do in order to get along is to respect each other's journey and not think that, oh, you need to give me more attention because my problems are worse than yours. No. Exactly. It has to be just understanding, and not so much, not even understanding, because for example, see, me and Deborah, we've been talking for a long time, and we've become friends. And she has her chronic pain issues, and I have my chronic pain issues. I will never say that I understand what she's going through, but I accept that she's having these problems, and I accept that it's very hard for her, and this is how I deal with it. You know, it is, and when we talk, I know that it's hard for her. I don't know, I have my own pain, but I'm not trying to compare it with her pain. I don't, does that make any sense? So that's my main issue, and that's why I'm so glad that I opened this channel, because people who are going through their own little journey to hell, if you want, I was able to bring like the ray of sunshine, you know, and they were able to, thank you, you go to sleep, it's late, 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 Cherry, thank you for being here. Oh God, that's so horrible, Joan. I cannot even imagine how it would be. You see, in this, I have a loss of words. But it's almost 9 o'clock, and I woke up at 6:30 instead of 4:30 this morning, so I had to hurry up, and I'll check on the video that I posted on Facebook with the recipes, because I told you I watched, and there's a portion there of a few seconds that I have no idea what's going on, but it was black. And I need to put how much of the recipe I can put, because I'm always eyeballing. And the recipe, at least the recipe for the chicken coconut curry, I came up with myself, because I was at the oncologist's office, and there was a book there, a little magazine with recipes for the slow cooker. And I was like, these things together should look good. And I tried, and they came up good. But anyway, I was saying that I woke up late, I had to cook, I had to clean a little bit, and then I rested a little after my friends left. Then I had the live with the sponsors, and then I came here because I promised to celebrate with you also. So I guess I'm going to go have some rest, and I will see you all Sunday when we will finish the bat earrings and bat wing earrings and bat bangle. So thank you for being here with me and celebrating. Yay, no champagne because I cannot drink alcohol. So thank you, and I promise I will start all that pep talk channel with a whole bunch of stuff, but right now I need to finish other things, and then I'll get to that too. Thank you. I love you all, and thank you for all your support, because again, I wouldn't be here without you. That's the truth too. So thank you all so much, and I will see you all Sunday at 12:30. Have a good night.